Welcome to another video on Systema presented to you by Transition CRT. Today I will be discussing the principle of spirals. Spirals are curves or rotating movements we know from our daily life. For instance, the three-dimensional spirals like vortexes that you might see in the water or even helices. The whole principle of a spiral is that we have a rotating movement around a certain defined center point. The far end of that rotating movement has usually a low speed, and the closer the distance to the center point, the higher the speed will be as it increases alongside that center point. Using spirals in Systema mostly will be to transfer straight forward movement into a spiral movement. Initially to create a three-dimensional depth, but also to manipulate and disbalance our opponent. To show you a couple of examples, I'll require Alex's assistance, so if you'd be so kind. What we're going to start with is a straightforward movement, like I've just mentioned, which will be a punch, that I will try to manipulate by bringing it out of its trajectory using a spiral. And by using depth, as I will be moving towards the rear, I will not only minimize the amount of speed and inertia, but simultaneously affect Alex's balance. So here we go. What you've just seen is a quite excessive spiral from a quite straightforward motion, which is a punch in a very defined narrow trajectory that has been deflected into a wide, big motion. Another thing I will show you is also a spiral working in depth, but with a very limited amount of rotation. If you'd be so kind to grab my wrist. I'll use the same principle in a three-dimensional way by manipulating Alex's hand. Here we go. Thank you very much, Alex. That will be all for the spiral principle. Please be aware that spirals might work in a two-dimensional or three-dimensional way. When working in two-dimensional way, please make sure to prevent working in a spiral as a concentric circle. So working in two-dimensional way will require a certain increasement of speed to be able to affect your opponent. Preferably work in a three-dimensional spiral, like helices or vortexes. By doing so, you will be creating depth by forward or rear movement that will eventually either bring your opponent out of balance and probably even bring him to the ground. Thank you very much. Make sure to like us. See you next time.